Hello, my name is Bokani. Welcome to my studio. Today I want to talk about these three bowls that I made. Many people during lockdown part, whichever number we're in now, started wanting to make things. I think there's something to do with being at home, really noticing the things that you have. I was particularly grateful for, I hope I never take anything like home, food, family, really wonderful friendships for granted. And I noticed the things in the house in a different way this time. And I really had the sense of wanting to make something tangible in a different way from the paintings that I make. And I wanted to play with shape, I guess, as well, and to see what would become of that. So I made these three bowls with a fast drying clay because I am deeply impatient, and as I was making it, I then wanted to layer into it my I don't know if you can see that, my painting style, and to bring some of that floral movement, botanical texture to them. And there's something quite fragile about them as well, and I wanted to make each one very different, very clearly unique in its own way. And I guess I've been thinking a little bit about who makes all the things that we have, and been thinking a lot about, how do we make sure that at all ends of any transaction everyone is treated fairly. Noticing a lot people who were let go very suddenly from their jobs and had no safety nets, coming from a culture where the family is really the safety net, and noticing how the ways of working that we have really eroded that, have made people move across countries and work so much that they have no time to build those relationships in the community, and really that sense of isolation that leaves people very vulnerable, especially in a time like this. And so all these thoughts were going through my mind, and also I was thinking about the many deaths that we've seen, and the way in which that different lives have seemed to be worthy of mourning and others haven't, and the ways in which some lives are grievable and others are not, and which lives are worth protecting while others are worth testing on. And I really found myself thinking a lot about how we grieve, how we mourn, and I was thinking a little bit about the last time I had been to Zimbabwe, which is where I'm from, and I guess the thing that I find it's tough to explain and be my normal, sharp, hopefully witty self, because I'm not entirely sure I have all the words for it, which is why I make art, obviously. Either to explain certain experiences to myself or to you, frankly. And so the last time we were in Zimbabwe, we visited my father's grave, and his gravestone had been stolen, and I was surprised that the first thought that I had wasn't anger per se. It was just a sort of wry curiosity about, well, actually, given how desperate would someone be to do that? And, you know, it had been beautifully made, and, you know, my family had really wanted to honor his life. But because it was beautifully made of a great stone granite, I think it was made in, there was a whole market in which people would steal those and polish off the name and then resell them. and I'm still, I mean, this is years ago now, and I'm still trying to make a bit of sense in that. And there's, I guess, a part of me in which some of the work I've been making is an attempt to mark lives in a more in a longer lasting way, maybe, but what lasts longer than granite? And really try and think about which lives we mark and which ones we don't, and the inherent dignity in all lives, and how that's recognized in the world, how that shows up in the world. I think as I've seen, you know, vaccines being rolled out here and not necessarily in other parts of the world, I just keep thinking a lot about that, and how little people, including me, if I'm honest, try to change that and try to hold governments to account, leaders to account, so that it's clear that it's not acceptable. And I guess in making these bowls, it brought a lot of this again up, and I wanted to. I was thinking about how traditionally, you know, somebody's cup or bowl or plate that they use is damaged and then laid at their gravestone. So I began to think of these not as separate to other work I've made, but in fact, like I actually think I want to make it part of another work. So I guess you get to see part of that experience yourselves. I've been really, you know, I like these. Sometimes it takes me a while to come back to a piece of work and look at it differently. But I wanted to, use them to think about, you know, how they might be left at a graveside, in the same way that some cultures leave stones, flowers, or as I say, this broken vessel that somebody, favorite mug or, yeah. So. A bit more solid than I thought.